Hey everybody, it is Rick. I'm here with December week 3 reviews. We're going to dive in because we have 8 titles to talk about, 3 of which were on physical media. Then we have a couple Disney Plus watches, a Netflix watch, an IMAX watch, a movie that I saw in theaters. And one of these movies I actually teased watching it on physical, but we watched it in theaters. We'll get into that shortly. The first thing we watched this week was Nightmare Alley, which is the new Guillermo del Toro film. Stars Bradley Cooper, Cate Blanchett, uh, Rooney Mara is in the film as well. Ron Perlman, a bunch of familiar faces. So I've recently gotten more into Guillermo del Toro's work. Saw Pan's Labyrinth, I guess during 2020 it would have been. Really loved that movie and was not expecting to be a huge fan. I need to watch, oh man, it's like a romantic gothic film, Crimson Peak. I need to check out. But a lot of what I've seen of his work, I enjoy. Enjoyed Shape of Water quite a bit. So saw the trailer for this, was definitely intrigued for sure. And this movie offers up several really good performances, great costuming. The cinematography of the film is absolutely beautiful. However, the script, in my opinion, was a bit weak for this film. And what I mean by that is the first act of the movie, absolutely phenomenal. The first 45 minutes to the hour, probably an hour of the film, I was so on board. It basically takes place at like a freak show, circus sideshow thing, and I wish the movie was just all that, honestly, because I loved the characters, I loved the look of it, the story. I was in love with this movie. Like, if this movie was 45 minutes to an hour long, it would have been a 5-star movie for me. However, the second act and third act of this film really lost me a bit. And I know they had to advance the story. And this is based on a book and an old movie, if I'm not mistaken. This is basically a remake from a movie a long, long time ago. I believe the original was on Criterion, if I'm not mistaken. So I have to correct myself. The third act I did enjoy, but the second act was really weak for me. Really like stretched out the story. It also like had this thing where there was a lack of build up and suspense for me. Like, this is kind of like a film noir type film, and it just didn't escalate to a suspenseful payoff for me, which for a movie like this, you would think it would be building to that suspense payoff, and it just didn't get there for me personally. Bradley Cooper, really, really great in this film. And there's a scene, the last shot in this movie, stuck with me for a few days. It is very well done. Bradley Cooper really, really, really gave a great performance in this movie. Cannot praise his performance in this film enough. But the last scene in this movie, if you've seen it, you probably know what I'm talking about. When you do watch it, when it comes out on physical, if that's how you're going to watch it, I think you'll see what I'm talking about. But Nightmare Alley, I gave a 3.5 out of 5. Definitely one I recommend checking out once it comes on physical, if not playing in your local theater anymore. By the time this video drops, it most likely won't be in theaters, but it should be coming out on physical in the next month or two with the rate that stuff's coming out. Next up, we went to see my favorite Christmas movie of all time in theaters. That is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Wanted to hold this one up just instead of the poster, honestly. So saw this in the theater. It was a fun experience. We were in a theater. I had my You Serious Clark t-shirt on. People were coming in with Griswold Family Christmas shirts on. I saw a girl with an Uncle Lewis shirt on. Christmas Vacation is hands down my favorite Christmas movie. It is my one must-watch Christmas movie every holiday. I love it so much. It makes me laugh out loud. Cousin Eddie, Aunt Bethany are my 2 favorite characters. I love Margot and Todd. The movie is just so funny. And man, this movie came out in 89, I believe. So 33 years later, it still makes me laugh out loud almost continuously throughout the runtime. It was tough for me to not quote along with the movie in some parts, honestly, but I love this movie. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. Christmas Vacation. Highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Just a really, really great... Wait, have you really not seen Christmas Vacation? If you haven't seen Christmas Vacation, please, please, please do yourselves a favor. Watch it next Christmas. Or watch it now. It is awesome. So Christmas Vacation, 4.5 out of 5. The next movie we watched on Disney Plus, but I believe it is also available on HBO Max due to a new agreement that Disney has in line with HBO. And that is Ron's Gone Wrong. A movie that looked fun from the trailer, basically about a robot that all these kids have, and there's a kid who's kind of like not as well off, and his parents or his dad gets him this robot, and it's voiced by Zach Galifianakis, although something's kind of off with his robot. And it looked like it would be a fun animated movie from the trailers. And there were laughs. It was a fun movie. I definitely recommend people check this out. Once again, not something I personally want to buy and like add in my collection, but I enjoyed it. I believe RJ liked it, if I'm not mistaken. So Zach Dylan Grazer voices Barney, who's the lead in the movie. Talks about getting a new robot, which is known as a B-bot in this film. He gets one named Ron, which is, like I said, voiced by Zach Galifianakis, and notices something's off with his robot. If you guys watch the show Black Mirror, I recently just finished the complete Black Mirror series, and there was an episode that was in the newest season called Rachel, Jack, and Ashley 2. It's about a girl who gets like a robot that's designed after his pop star. Vibes of that episode in this movie, although this was only a kid's film, but definitely similarities in those two movies, or in the movie in that episode. Also was reminded of Mitchell's vs. Machines from last year. This is not nearly on the same level as Mitchell's vs. Machines, which I thought was one of the better animated movies I've seen in a long time. So the second act slowed down in the movie. But other than that, a fun family watch. Was never really bored with this one. I give it a 3 out of 5. Ron's Gone Wrong. Do yourselves a favor. Check this one out if you have not seen it. Next up, this is going to be really tough to talk about without spoilers, so I'm going to try to leave it as vague as possible. We went and saw in IMAX SpiderMan No Way Home. And man, this was the most entertaining movie experience I've had in such a long time. Seeing it in IMAX in a packed theater on a Sunday morning was pretty wild. Like I said, there's no reason for me to get into spoilers. This is now, as of recording this video, I believe in the top 8 or top 7 all-time domestic box office. I will be buying this on 4K when it comes out. The movie is so much fun. Such a fantastic story. I love Homecoming and Far From Home, but this movie just elevates beyond those two films. So probably my first movie experience since Endgame where people were cheering out loud along with the movie, which was awesome to be a part of. Tom Holland, once again, fantastic as Spider-Man. Zendaya as MJ, and Jacob, I believe it's Batalon as Ned. Awesome as Peter's best friends. I love the chemistry between those three characters. So the movie obviously is about Spider-Man being unmasked in Far From Home and dealing with that and how it affects his life, Peter's life, as well as his friends and his family's lives. We got to see Doctor Strange, which was awesome. I am a fan of Doctor Strange. Very excited about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is coming out this year. And the ending to the Spider-Man High School trilogy, as some people are calling it, was an absolute blast. Part of me would love to go back and re-see this in theaters. It's possible I still might. If not, I'll definitely be rewatching it on 4K. The Steelbook looks beautiful. If I remember, I'll try to put a screenshot of it in really fast. If not, look up the Steelbook for Spider-Man Far From Home. No Way Home. Sorry. I do own the first 2 Spider-Man movies on Steelbook, so I definitely want to get the third one on Steelbook as well. So Spider-Man No Way Home gets a 4.5 out of 5. Such an entertaining film. One that people who love superhero movies, Spider-Man movies will love and enjoy this movie, hands down. So next up, we did another holiday film. This one is a love story, and that is The Holiday. I had never seen this one before. There are your 4 leads there: Jude Law, Cameron Diaz, Kate Winslet, and Jack Black. And this one took me by surprise. I really enjoyed this. I know my buddy Jacob, J2H, is a big fan of this movie. I believe he said it's probably, if I'm not mistaken, his favorite romantic comedy. My girlfriend said it was a really good movie, so I was excited to check it out. And so, a Christmas time romantic comedy, 4 great leads, a sub-story that involves Hollywood, which obviously gets me in. Jack Black's like a score writer for Hollywood. Cameron Diaz is she edits trailers and cuts trailers together, which is fun. So yeah, I enjoyed this movie. Wanted more focus on Jack Black and Kate Winslet. Honestly, I feel like Cameron Diaz and Jude Law are the main story in this movie, and Kate Winslet and Jack Black are kind of like I don't want to say an afterthought, but kind of like a side story. I don't think the time is split up evenly, but when the focus shifts to Jack Black and Kate Winslet, I found myself enjoying the movie a lot more personally. I don't know if it's being a big guy and him getting Kate Winslet was exciting to me. Spoiler alert, I'm sorry. This movie is 15 years old, so hopefully I didn't ruin it for anybody. But yeah, and the other thing that I enjoyed was Kate Winslet befriended a neighbor, Arthur, who's an older member of Hollywood, and he kind of tells her stories, and she hangs out with him and his friends, which is fun. And just, this movie has a lot of heart. I give it a 4 out of 5. This will stay on the shelf. Definitely enjoy this. Can see myself revisiting this at the holidays. This and Love Actually. Love Actually is probably my favorite Christmas romantic love story of all time, but this was a fun one. The Holiday, 4 out of 5. Speaking of Christmas romantic comedies, the next film I watched was on Netflix. Bridget had seen this one, and I wanted to check it out because I love Jimmy O Yang, who was the male lead in the movie, and it is called Love Hard. A fun yet predictable Christmas romantic comedy. Jimmy O Yang is one of the stars. Nina Dobrev is the main star. She has awful luck with dating. She does a lot of online dating and actually has turned it into a column for a company she works for, telling stories about her awful experiences online dating. And she goes to New York from California to meet up with this guy she met online. He's gorgeous. They click, all these good things. And when they go to meet, it's actually Jimmy O Yang, who is pretending to be someone he's not, although only physically. The way he talks about himself and what he does is all his personal stuff, but he doesn't feel confident in his looks, so he puts a handsome guy as a replacement for him. And you can kind of see where the movie's going to go, but I definitely recommend checking this one out. He actually, as opposed to a normal catfish where he just finds photos of a random person, he actually has a childhood friend, Tag, that really lives close to him still, that he uses his photos for. There's a lot of predictability in this movie, but a lot of humor and a lot of heart. I actually enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. There's also a running gag about Die Hard and whether it's a Christmas movie or not. I'm not going to get into my thoughts on that, but that was a fun part of this story as well. Also, Love Actually comes up in this movie. And yeah, it's very fun. Actually, the title is probably a play on Love Actually and Die Hard, come to think of it. But I gave Love Hard a 3 out of 5. A fun Christmas romantic comedy. If you're into that kind of thing, I definitely recommend checking it out. Next up, I watched a documentary on Disney Plus called Stuntman, which is a documentary about Eddie Braun, This movie is absolutely beautiful to look at. Basically, Eddie Braun is a Hollywood stuntman, and he wants to attempt a stunt that Evel Knievel attempted and failed at doing, which is clearing the Snake River Canyon in a rocket. The film basically talks about Braun's life as a stuntman, how beat up he is. He's an older guy. How he feels after recent stunts that he's been participating in. His family doesn't really want him to keep doing the stunts and getting beat up, but he loves the stunt life so much that he can't stop. And the culmination of the film surrounds this big launch in a rocket that's custom made over the canyon, and builds up into that. And yeah, it's a enjoyable documentary, not one of the better documentaries I've seen, but it's watchable. It's short. It's only like 80 or 85 minutes. I give Stuntman a 3 out of 5, and I believe we have one more movie to talk about, and this one we watched on 4K. Another movie off my Christmas list that I'd never seen, and that is The Nutcracker and the Four Realms, this being my steelbook of it. And I've heard nothing but mediocre to awful things about this movie, and seemed very out of my comfort zone, but I was pretty curious about it. It had some cool visual things in the trailer, so I wanted to check it out, and it looked good on 4K. However, in the middle of the movie, I was checked out. I was not a big fan of this. It's just not my style of film. The story is very convoluted, in my opinion. It feels so much longer than 99 minutes, too. This feels like one of those movies where you're sitting there for like 2+ hours, and you look at your runtime, and you're like, oh, we're 45 minutes in. Cool. And yeah, it's felt every bit of 99 minutes tripled. There's people like Helen Mirren and Morgan Freeman and Richard E. Grant in this movie that feel very underutilized. And this is a one-time watch for me, but I also kind of anticipated this would be a one-time viewing for me. I'll sell the steelbook and probably recoup what I paid for it because I bought it brand new. But Nutcracker and the Four Realms gets a 1.5 out of 5. This is not for me. I know my girlfriend, she saw it in the movies, and she said she had rewatched it once since then, and she's like, maybe I'm missing something, and she said after this, like, no, I don't know, it's just not hitting. So, Nutcracker and the Four Realms, the steelbook is pretty cool though. The girl is embossed, and the etching on this is embossed, so that's cool. I'm sure this will sell for good money, or decent money, I should say, fairly quick. So Nutcracker and the Four Realms, and that is it, guys. That is everything. We watched the 3rd week of December. We'll talk about the final week next week, Christmas week. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching as always. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you don't do so already. Hit that bell notification so you guys know when new videos are coming to the channel. Also, check out links down below to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, where I rate and review all the movies I watch. My eBay store link is down below, along with my Blu-ray.com profile, Amazon wishlist, email address, and P.O. box. All can be found down below. So that is it, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, until next time, who's down to movie?